This history that we've covered in the previous classes convinced the designers of our Constitution that it was historically and politically necessary to codify the right to keep and bear arms in the form of an amendment, the Second Amendment specifically. The Second Amendment reads, "A well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of the free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." There are many false teachings and interpretations that center around this short amendment. First and foremost, that the right to keep and bear arms is necessary to keep you safe in your home from robbers and rapists. But beyond that, the right is subject to regulation by the government. Nothing could be further from the truth. As you've learned from the great debate class, the purpose of the Bill of Rights is not to specifically limit the federal government, but to remind the people of their essential and inalienable rights. So the people will never allow government to regulate those rights. Applying that principle, we must know that the purpose of the Second Amendment is to remind the people to never allow those in power to take away their right to secure their life, liberty, and property. There are countless legal briefs submitted by government lawyers and gun control advocates that claim the words "a well-regulated militia" only applies to a government-raised force. Their logic concludes that because the document says "a well-regulated militia," that can only refer to a force at the command of government, since no one regulates as well as the government. Now, when we say that out loud, it sounds ridiculous, but I'm telling you, that is the argument by the academic elite, and I believe many of them actually believe it. What is puzzling is how these otherwise educated people can draw such a hard line, albeit errant, conclusion when the remaining text itself contradicts their premise. After all, it says right there in the text that the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Mason continues to answer our first question by saying, "Who are the militia?" He says, "I ask, who are the militia? They consist now of the whole people except a few public officers, but I cannot say who will be the militia of the future day if that paper on the table gets no alteration. The militia of the future day may not consist of all classes, high and low, and rich and poor." I find it interesting that in spite of all the academic discussions and debates designed to make the general population believe that we cannot know what the designers of our Constitution intended when they wrote the Second Amendment, that we find George Mason, the father of the Bill of Rights in 1788, asking and answering the very questions we are. The fact that he answers the question of who are the militia so precisely should be evidence of the willful deception that continues in modern education. So who are the militia? According to the father of the Bill of Rights, the whole body of the people, not including those in public office.